What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back to a new review. For today I have the highly anticipated Elephone U Pro, and this phone is special because it offers flagship specs from a smaller company like Elephone. The phone's design is inspired from the Samsung Galaxy S8 and probably from the Samsung Galaxy S9, and I have to be honest, every single time I pick this phone up it feels just like a Samsung Galaxy S8. We get a 6-inch AMOLED screen that has curved edges just like the S8, and we've seen a lot of phones from China that had curved screens. However, just the glass was curved for those ones. With this one, the screen underneath the glass it's also curved, and I have to say it looks absolutely gorgeous. We even have something like the edge that's available on the S8. However, the implementation on the Elephone U Pro isn't the same, so this is more like a shortcut for some apps. Now, at the same time, it can become annoying if you're playing games because it doesn't disappear, it's always there, and it's kind of easy to touch and bring those apps up. So I found myself not using it as much as I wanted just because it becomes annoying every now and then. Other than that, the screen looks absolutely fabulous. The colors are super vibrant, the viewing angles are exceptionally good so you can see the screen no matter how you look at it, and the screen gets bright enough so you can see it outside. Now, of course, it doesn't get as bright as the screen that you'd find on the S8, but it's bright enough so you can use it outside. The touch sensitivity is also great and on par with a lot of flagships out there. As for the soft keys at the bottom of the screen, well, you can move them around from the software and you can even choose how they look. Now, if you don't have the soft keys, you can also use gestures, so just as you've seen on the iPhone X. Just above the screen we have an 8-megapixel front-facing camera and LED notification light that can change colors. Now the picture quality from that front-facing camera is decent as long as you have plenty of light. So if you have plenty of light, the pictures are quite sharp and detailed, so no complaints about them. But as soon as you don't have enough light, the quality decreases quite a lot and the pictures become kind of grainy and blurry. And we are moving on to the phone's frame. So the phone's frame it's made out of metal and it's also painted blue so you can match the back of the phone. Now this feels very similar to the S8, and that's why I said at the beginning you don't really know which phone you picked up because they just feel identical. So on the right hand side you're gonna find the power button and the volume keys, and the buttons are made out of metal as well, and at the top you're gonna find the slot for the SIM card. So this device can take either two SIM cards or a SIM card and an SD card. And moving back to the frame, all the way at the bottom you're gonna find the microphone. We also have a USB-C port and the speaker. That USB-C port supports OTG, so you can plug in any USB stick and the phone can read whatever you have on that USB stick. And the phone supports fast charging as well, so charging this device from 0 to 100 is done in about an hour and 40 minutes. As for that speaker, well, it gets fairly loud, but it's just one tiny speaker, and not to mention that you can cover it very easily whenever you're holding the phone like this. But here is a quick sample of how the speaker sounds.
This is our story, it's written on the wall of what you did, what I did, and more than less.
So the phone comes with 128 gigs of internal storage, and out of that we have about 108 gigs left after the operating system, but the speeds for the internal storage aren't as fast as I was expecting. Now, as I said before, the phone can take an SD card, and that SD card can also be used as internal storage, so you're not going to be running out of space anytime soon. And since we are talking about specs, we might as well talk about the CPU and the RAM. So this phone comes with a Snapdragon 660. This is an octa-core CPU clocked at 2.2 GHz, so definitely not a slow CPU. And we have 6 gigs of RAM, and of course the phone is running Android 8. Since we have 6 gigs of RAM, the multitasking works great as well, and you can keep a whole bunch of apps running in the background and the phone is not gonna kill them. And that's great because with a lot of Samsung devices, the phones kind of kill the apps running in the background. And we're moving on to the back of the phone. So the back of the phone seems to be made out of glass. Now, I didn't exactly break it or scratch it or anything like that, so you can confirm that that's glass, but it sounds just like the back that I have on my Samsung Galaxy S8. So the back is super shiny and it looks great, but keeping this phone clean it's almost impossible. So every single time you touch it, you're gonna leave a fingerprint on it, and the phone is kind of slippery as well. So if you leave this on a desk or something like that, there is a good chance the phone is gonna slip off the desk. So I do recommend using that case that comes in the box so you can avoid some accidents. On the back there we have two 13 megapixel cameras, we have the flash and the fingerprint scanner. Now the fingerprint scanner seems to be placed in the right spot, but unfortunately it's not the fastest fingerprint scanner out there. So after you press it, it takes like half a second to a second for the screen to unlock. So I was expecting much better, mostly considering that we have that fast Snapdragon 660. But I'm imagining that this isn't exactly the fastest fingerprint scanner out there. Another interesting thing about this phone is the fact that it supports wireless charging, and that's not something that we see for a lot of Chinese devices. We also have NFC, and that's great mostly if you're planning to transfer files in between phones, or if you're planning to use NFC tags, but unfortunately you're not gonna be able to use Android Pay. I was kind of hoping you would, but no, you cannot use Android Pay with this device. Now about those cameras. So as I mentioned earlier, we have two 13 megapixel cameras on the back of this phone, but we've seen a lot of phones from China that have a fake camera on the back. Well, that's not the case with this phone. Both cameras work on the back, and that means that you can take some pictures with that cool bokeh effect. Now, unfortunately, the edge detection from the bokeh effect isn't that good. I mean, you can still take some good looking pictures with the bokeh effect, but they're not perfect. So not like something that you would see on the Google Pixel or the Note 8 or the iPhone X or anything like that. The camera app also looks and feels kind of unfinished. It doesn't look that great, and I've also noticed some bugs for the camera app. And this only happens if you're taking pictures in low light. So you're waiting for the phone to focus, and every now and then the screen just goes black. And then you have to like turn on the phone again and try taking the same picture. So definitely some bugs for the camera app. The phone can also record in 4K at 30 frames per second, but unfortunately we don't have optical image stabilization, so all the recordings that you're gonna do with this phone and even the pictures are gonna be blurry if you don't hold your hand steady. But here is a quick sample of a 4K video that I recorded with this phone. This is a quick 4K sample recorded with the Elephone U Pro. As you can probably see, it's not sunny and we don't have any blue skies. But it is what it is. If I would wait for sunshine and blue skies, I may have to wait a couple of weeks. So this is how a 4K recording from this device looks like. As for the picture quality, and I'm talking about the pictures that you're gonna take with plenty of light, well, I can't really complain. The colors are very accurate, the pictures are very sharp as well, and the dynamic range is decent. Now, the problem comes when you take pictures in low light. In low light, the phone doesn't do good at all, and I've seen phones that were like $150 that did much better. And it's kind of a shame because this is an expensive phone. I mean, if I'm spending $450 on a phone, I am kind of expecting to take good pictures in daytime and at nighttime. Alright, so this phone weighs about 170 grams, so not that heavy, and inside it we have a 3550 mAh battery. But that's the regular size that we get for a lot of flagships. So you're gonna be able to make it through an entire day and get about 6 to 7 hours of screen on time. And of course, 6 to 7 hours of screen on time isn't that much, but it's on par with pretty much all the other flagships. So the Samsung Galaxy S8, the OnePlus 5T, the LG G6 and so on. Performance-wise, well, I have to say this is a very fast phone, and in fact it's faster than my Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus, and I've actually done a speed testing between these two phones, and if you want to check that one out, I'm gonna leave a link in the video's description or the top right corner. So you're gonna see the Antutu benchmark score and the Geekbench 4 score, and you're gonna be like, maybe it's not that fast, but trust me, this phone is very, very fast. Even though the UI doesn't look like stock Android, it's actually very, very close to stock Android, and just those icons are a bit different. But underneath those icons, this is very much stock Android. And of course, that helps a lot to the phone's fluidity. So scrolling in between screens, opening apps, closing apps, pretty much everything that you're gonna do on this phone, it's extremely quick and quicker than a lot of flagships out there. I tried a lot of apps on this phone, so pretty much all the social media apps like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and every single app that I tried performs extremely good. So it opens fast and then you can scroll up and down as fast as you want and the phone is not gonna slow down. So I'm very, very impressed about the performance that we get from the Elephone U Pro. Same story if you're using Chrome or if you're using the split screen function from Android 8. Everything works very well and much better than a lot of phones. So let me repeat that. It works very well and the phone is extremely fast. On the YouTube app, of course, the maximum resolution is 1080p because that's the maximum resolution of the screen. And all the videos work without any lag, and you can even zoom in so you can take full advantage of that 18:9 screen ratio. Same story for gaming. So I played GTA San Andreas at the maximum settings, and this game isn't exactly light. It's a fairly heavy game and a lot of phones struggle with this game, but not this phone. This phone performs very well, no skipped frames or anything like that. So for gaming, this is gonna be an awesome phone. The GPS unit inside it works flawlessly as well, so it only takes like half a second for the phone to find your location, so very fast and just as fast as my Samsung Galaxy S8. And of course using Google Maps works great and without any issues as well. As for sensors, well, you're gonna find all the sensors that you would find in any other flagship. So yes, the phone has a gyroscope and you can use this as a VR headset. Connectivity wise, the phone supports 4G connectivity, dual band Wi-Fi and NFC, but I already talked about the NFC. Now here in Canada I can use it on 2G and 4G, so no 3G bands that match the Canadian bands, and that's kind of a shame. And based on what I've seen on Elephone's website, well, this phone is not exactly gonna work in the US. And once again, that's a shame because there is a big market in the US and they could have sold a lot of this. But yeah, this phone is only gonna work on 2G in the US, which, as I said, it's a shame. The call quality is good and the speaker on top here gets loud enough so you can hear most conversations, so no complaints about that. But the Wi-Fi range isn't the best that I've seen. Now, if you're close to your router, you will get good enough speeds over the dual band Wi-Fi and even over 4G, but the range isn't as good as I've seen from other devices in the past. And it's time to conclude this video. So this phone is pretty awesome, but mostly because it's coming from a small company from China, and I'm hoping that in the near future we are gonna be able to see more awesome phones from other smaller companies from China, because we've already seen these kind of phones from big companies like Samsung and LG. Now this phone is kind of expensive. It costs about $450, and for that price is gonna be kind of tough to sell, because you can get a Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge, you can get an LG G6, you can probably even find a used Samsung Galaxy S8, and it's kind of difficult to sell this phone for $450. Yes, it has an awesome screen, it has a fast CPU, and it's a Snapdragon CPU, not a MediaTek CPU that you usually see with most Chinese devices, but it has average cameras, and you can't really have average cameras for $450. Now, if the price drops to about $300, this is gonna be an awesome phone to get, but till then, it's gonna be difficult to sell this phone. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did like it, press that like button, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.